Hello, lovely people. I'm Sinead, and welcome. I didn't get a whole lot done in the second half of the week because of a migraine, but I did get this sheep shellacked and its little feet, and I love how the shellac turned out. So now I am planning on a rag doll for it, and I need materials. And the thing that I was going to do was to dye some cotton, and that didn't work. It's not going to turn out the right color. So I'm looking for some other different materials, and it's gonna wait until some things arrive and find out whether or not I can use them and whether or not they'll work. Also, Heather Dove very sweetly sent Escee some fabric, and I got Escee some bedding made, and he is hoping that this piece here will turn into pajamas. So while I've got bedding made, there is not a bed. So I thought that that's what we'd do today, is we would make Escee a bed. So let's turn the camera around and get started. Here's Essee's in his bed. With the bedding, he's very thrilled with his little gnome pillow and all the bedding that he got here. So as you can see, we just desperately need to get this up off the floor onto a bed. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, the first thing I did was get a piece of cardboard big enough to make a platform for the mattress. So using the mattress, and you know, you could always start with platform and then make the mattress fit it, but I had to do it the other way, just kind of backwards that way. But using your dimensions that you need, the size of the bed, whether it be a mattress or the space that you're trying to put it in or the doll, you come up with basically the rectangular measurement, and then the height of the bed is this tab, and it should match. These two tabs should be the same height, along with a space here, and then another measurement of exactly the same rectangular measurement to this side. Then I've scored all of these fold lines to where they'll open up, and this one hasn't been done. So using a ruler on the opposite side of the cut, I fold, and that way I get a straight line. Now this one's going to be harder to see or to do. Hopefully that's in the right spot. No, we moved. Over there. We're still not there. Ah, there we go. Okay, so because I'm not feeling all that grand yet from that migraine, oh, it was a doozy, I'm going to use masking tape to put this box together. But as you can see, it's just going to be a simple platform like this. And then we can glue headboard or footboard if you want it. You don't actually, the platform can be where you stop. Sitting here going, where's my masking tape? So hopefully you've had a good week, and what have you been crafting on, if anything? I was really excited by the shellac and how it turned out. That was exciting for me. Normally, what I would do here, instead of masking tape, is I would use a piece of paper, and I would glue that piece of paper to the thing, and I would get a piece that was probably wider than this piece of tape is. I think that'll hold once we get the ends closed. That's what's going to keep us square. And that's an interesting thought right there. Do we want to try and push it to the inside? Did I think of that first? No. But here we are, trying to make it work. So I don't usually buy things secondhand. It's not because I don't, I mean, I used to, but since the chemical sensitivities kicked in hardcore, I don't, because of the exposure factor to synthetic fragrance and, you know, other choices that people make, like cigarette smoke. Ooh, that's a doozy. And I went ahead, there was a pattern I wanted to replace that I used to have. And so I went ahead and I ordered it, and that's what kicked my butt this week. Is that it had synthetic fragrance pretty heavily, like it'd been Febrezed maybe. And then from the reaction I'm having, my guess is that it was covering cigarette smoke. Do we feel like this is square enough? It's a little wonky. You see there, we've got it's a little wonky, but I'm not gonna sweat it. I don't think Escee cares either. This side up or this side? I'm gonna go with this side. And then something I haven't done in a while. I used to homeschool. I say used to because the kids are grown. And I must have bought this packet of construction paper 30 years ago, but we never broke into it. So we're going to use it, at least some of it today. I've been trying to come up with ways to use it. I got to get the glue. Excuse me. Okay, got the glue. Since this isn't quite as wide as the platform is long, I am going to cover just this edge so that I can shift it up. And then we'll have the headboard and the footboard kind of cover that seam join up at the top. And obviously this doesn't have to, you don't have to do anything. You could be done with just a cardboard platform. Call it good. Tell your doll it's a piece of wood. Well, I'm getting glue everywhere. All over there. So get the corners too. I just got glue on the other side, so we're going to put it there. Also really kind of excited to be doing the paintwork on my China doll, or porcelain doll, or patch, but I don't know. Yeah, it means going and getting the linseed oil paint, the basic white, out of the garage. Oh, what can I say? I'm just having a hard time making it out to the garage. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of this construction paper glued on here and find the materials, the rest of the cardboard for the headboard. Now that I'm looking at this, I'm kind of wishing I'd turned the construction paper the other direction, but there we are. On the headboard, you can use your roll of tape to make circles or a rounded shape, or a glass like I did, where I've created two rounded shapes to cause me, you know, an enormous amount of grief, because if you've watched me with cutting rounded shapes, they're not my favorite. I'm not very good at it. But we're gonna try. Yeah. And I'm suffering from a lot of just brain fry. I think that's more the cigarette smoke. It's funny, is when I was a kid, my best friend's mother was a chain smoker. He was an asthmatic, so were his siblings. But she couldn't quit. She never did. But I spent an inordinately large amount of time in their house, and yet didn't get on the cigarettes. And it didn't deter me from staying over there. But tried to get him to spend time at my house, but you know, being an asthmatic, a severe asthmatic, he was poster child for the Lung Association, literally. And so he didn't want to be far from his machine. That's what we all called it, the machine. It was a, what do you call that? I want to say atomizer, but that's not the right word. Anyway, nebulizer. I think that's what it was. That's what kept him pretty much out of the hospital. But as he got older, it wasn't so successful. But when we were kids, was kind of his little savior. So we didn't get far from it. I didn't develop asthma until I was 12 or so. And I never had it as severe. You know, we used to use him as like a gauge for what, he didn't have asthma until he had asthma as bad as he did, which is silly. But my father taught my brother how to deal with the asthma without using pharmaceuticals, just calming yourself down, and that has been the way that I've continued to deal with it, which is a good thing because I can't use those pharmaceuticals now. So I figured out some herbs that help, but mostly I'm just grateful it's not that bad. Okay, so what I would do here is decide on a color. So this is my footboard. It's the shorter one. And on the height of the footboard and the headboard, that's really subjective. I kind of went for something that would look right when, like for the headboard, for if you were sitting up in bed. And the footboard just making it shorter. Boy, am I doing everything upside down? Probably. So I'm going to make the headboard blue and the footboard red. And I'm going to use the strips of paper along the edge, glue those down, and then cover the visible side. I guess on the footboard, that's both sides. So yeah, I'll go do that. So when you're putting the strip across the edge, if you do that, wow, look at that. You want to cut little slits, and if you're using a much more classy option of using fabric, then you might actually want to take little triangles out so that you don't get too much thickness here. You want to keep it as flat as possible. I also marked the side that I cut this off that I drew around, because I'm not symmetrical. This is not exactly the same from one side to the other. So I learned from doing the headboard that marking which side that I traced around to make sure that it matched up would make it easier to not have to trim it after it's on there. I just realized what these were. This is pencil marks, and I might be able to erase them after the glue's dried. But the one way to avoid that is to trace it before you stick that on there. That would be thinking ahead. But after I get this glued together into a proper bed form here with the headboard and the footboard, I may go over it with Mod Podge to seal everything up and add some stickers to the headboard and the footboard. I think I might have some mushroom stickers. That'd look really cute. And these colors are taking me back to my youth. We had striped wallpaper on the wall that was blue and green and yellow and orange, which, you know, I've got red here instead, but it's almost orange. So I switched to tacky glue to put the headboard and footboard on because it's a thicker glue. At least I think it's supposed to be a thicker glue. This is old too, so maybe it's thick because it's old, but it's got a better hold than the school glue for getting this in place. And here again, if you've watched my tutorial on putting the fairy house together, I'm using the same clamping system and I've dented it. So we're going to just embrace the dents and say it's, you know, it's age and weathering. But giant rubber bands would work easier, much easier. Oh boy, now I've gone and untied it and can't get it tied back on. Okay, so that's holding it together, and I have to wait for this to dry before I can do anything else to it, so that'll be some time. I'm not going to make you sit around for that. So I had to share this too. I have Pokemon stickers that look too cute on here. So he's going to get some Pokemon stickers. I hope you've enjoyed this cardboard crafting, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.